Yo, what's going on, guys, and welcome back to the 315 Sports Podcast. Today, we don't have a set topic that we're discussing. We're just going to be talking about a lot. First, we're going to do some college basketball trivia, then move on to Syracuse sports in general, talk about the basketball and the football teams, then talk about college basketball and how it ended. And then we're going to do a little 1v1 NBA bracket that I randomized, combining our top 16 players that we used in the first episode, have them in a bracket, playing one-on-one, and we'll see who wins it all. So for college basketball, once again, we'll go Gib, Shane, Steve. So the first question is for Gib. In 1967, what move was banned from college for 9 years before it was reinstated?
The dunk.
Correct. You have a point now. Keep track of your point.
Yeah. It's because I watched the whole thing on Kareem because he would just dunk. Yeah. But then he invented the sky hook, so it actually kind of helped him that they said no more dunking.
All right, Shane. The ACC was created in 1954. Who was the first team to win the ACC tournament?
I have no idea.
Just take a guess.
Go ahead, Steve.
You're not going to take a guess?
I have no idea.
Take a guess, but it makes it easier for me.
Let me do a little research.
No, don't look it up, bro. Just take a guess.
You're looking it up?
Oh.
All right, let me do it. All right, whatever. Is it Duke?
It's not Duke.
Is it North Carolina?
No, but it is close to North Carolina.
Oh, is it my turn? Oh.
I figured it wouldn't be Duke because they weren't good until Coach K got there, and he wasn't there in the 50s.
True.
And Carolina was good back then.
Can we skip Shane because he's Googling it?
No, we'll just let anyone answer it. If anyone
I have no idea.
NC State.
Yes, NC State. Good job.
There you go.
They won the first ever one. All right. In NCAA Division I men's basketball, UCLA has the most championships with 11. Who is the second most rings with 8? Once again, anyone can answer.
Is it? I think it's either Carolina or Kansas. But I'm gonna go with Carolina.
Nope.
Is it Kansas?
Nope.
Oh, Kentucky.
Yeah, Kentucky. All right, now we'll do that for the women's. Connecticut has 11. Who has the second most with 8 as well?
Is it Tennessee?
It is Tennessee. Good job.
Attaboy, Steve.
Now, which men's college basketball team has made the Final Four the most times?
The most times?
Yeah, with 18.
8? Is it UCLA?
No.
Kentucky.
Nope.
Duke?
Probably not. No.
Kansas.
Is it like a sleeper team?
No, it's not a sleeper.
Carolina.
Yeah, it's Carolina.
Yeah.
All right, now we'll get into actual questions about who passed Chris Jenkins the ball to hit the buzzer beater.
Arcidiacono.
That bum ass.
That was quick. Good job.
Ryan Arcidiacono.
What team lost to Michigan when Jordan Poole hit the buzzer beater, and what seed were they?
Houston, and when they were a 6 seed.
That was quick too.
I didn't even know the seed. I just knew they were in Houston.
All right, and the last question is Syracuse based. How many points did Malachi Richardson have against Virginia in the Elite Eight?
29.
28?
No.
32.
No, it's lower.
Oh, lower? 24.
22?
No.
26.
25.
21.
What?
21.
20.
Literally the only number you didn't guess in the low 20s.
27?
23.
Yes.
26. Oh,
23. 23. Someone said 24 and then 22. I felt bad for him. All right. And then now we're moving on to Syracuse sports. So whoever wants to lead off with discussing on how they think we'll talk about basketball first. How they think basketball did this season and how they thought we were going to end the season before it got canceled.
I mean, I can start us off if we need to. I think the tough thing about being a Hughes fan the last few weeks is just the fact that the hot game we had against North Carolina when they were healthy. You know, you got 2 first-round picks in North Carolina right now. It's not even counting the young guys who they can develop. Some of the other younger guys that can develop. To see Syracuse dominate them was such an uplifting part, and I don't want to say it was a great way to end the season because I really wish that wasn't the end. We're gonna play Louisville, correct? The next game of the ACC tournament.
Yeah.
And I think they really could have gave them a better game than when they played at Louisville. So I think it's kind of tough because we'll never know, but it gave us a lot of hope, and it gave them because this is a Syracuse team that, well, hot and cold. When they're hot, they're very hot, and they can beat anybody. And that's kind of like how Syracuse is every year. They can beat anybody, but at the same time, they can lose to anybody. So I think this year, you know, you guys can elaborate on it more, but I think it's a tough way to end. You know, beating a good UNC team and going on to play a big game against Louisville that we'll never see.
Yeah. I guess I'll go next. I felt as though when we started off the season against Virginia, that kind of pissed me off. It's like you're facing the national champions, of course, at home, but at that time they were one of the best teams in the country before they kind of hit a slope, which started with us beating them in January. But so you start off the season 0-1, and then what doesn't really help is you don't play real competition after that. We played some low levels like Cornell and like Bucknell. Like that's not. Even though we won those games, it's not a good way to bounce back. You want that revenge. You want to beat a good team so you feel like you know how good you are. And so then we go down to the tournament in New York City, I believe, and we get dominated by Oklahoma State, which I think was our worst loss of the season in terms of who we lost to, not by how much. And then after losing that game, surprisingly, we had a good chance to beat a good team in Penn State who ended up being ranked pretty much the whole season after that. Once again, we get dominated. I think we lost by like 20. So starting off the season, we were like 5-4. We lost to Iowa at home. And to start the season, you have this young team, but they're not showing you why you should believe in them. And because basically Elijah Hughes was the only one doing anything at this point besides Buddy being semi-consistent. Then, of course, mid-season you play those low levels like North Florida again, so that gets you a couple wins. But then you lose at Georgetown. Bad loss there because Georgetown ended up not being good. Then you come into ACC play. In early January, you lose to Notre Dame by 1. You lose to Virginia Tech, who both teams ended up finishing almost dead last in the ACC. But then that first Virginia game at Virginia really turned it around in mid-January. That's when I felt like we had a chance because that was the start of a 5-game win streak. And at one point we were 4th in the ACC. And then it all kind of started to fall apart. We lost at Clemson, lost to Duke at home. And then, like Steve said, when we played North Carolina in the first round and we had previously lost them at home, I didn't give us much a chance. I wanted to. I still believed that we could make the tournament. We would obviously had to have win the whole thing, but we played against UNC. It's a momentum thing. You see tournament teams come from their conference tournament because they made a run. And Syracuse could have had that. We played Louisville close in the first half earlier in the season before they won by 30. So I think Syracuse definitely had a chance. Would we have won it all? Probably not. But the fact that it was cut short, we'll never know, kind of makes me sad.
Just something small to add. I'm sorry, one second. Something small to add, the whole Louisville thing. Jordan Nwora, to this day, is not a better college basketball player than Elijah Hughes.
No.
And it's something that's completely not addressed. You see Jordan Nwora's finishing the season as an All-American with all these accolades, and he plays Syracuse with a 2-3 zone, and he's supposed to be a consistent scorer and a good shooter, and he goes 5 for 18, and they still dominate Syracuse. If Elijah Hughes goes 5 for 18, I don't know who we could beat unless Buddy has 30. So the value of Elijah Hughes on Cuse, and while he was the leading scorer for ACC most of the year, I think I think that Elijah Hughes was completely unappreciated by postseason awards this year, especially because Jordan Nwora and him are comparable in the same position, same type of player, and Elijah Hughes is just better overall.
Mm-hmm.
Shane, you want to go?
Sure. It was a disappointing season. It was obviously very likely we weren't going to make the tournament. That UNC game that first game of the tournament was huge. It showed that, we have a lot of potential, but I don't think there's any shot we're beating Louisville next round. But, we were young. We played a lot of close games, which showed, we could play with some of the better teams. Like you were saying earlier, Tim, we only lost to Notre Dame by 1. Then we had the close game against Virginia Tech the next night. Lost to Clemson, and I think that was the overtime game, right? 1-point loss there.
Yeah.
Maybe not.
Yeah, we lost by 1.
Yeah.
Like you were saying, Steve, I felt like we can beat anyone, but we can kind of lose to anyone too. And that's kind of how it is when we rely on shooting, which we did a lot this year with, Joe and Buddy and Elijah. But I don't know. It was a young team. I think going forward we're going to get better. But we'll see.
Yeah, I'm kind of on the same boat as Shane. It's kind of like when's being 18-11 and sneaking into the NCAA tournament enough for Syracuse fans? We're for our whole lives pretty much up until we were probably in 8th grade. Syracuse was going 25-9 every year, and it was a top 5 seed in the tournament. It seemed like every year, and then it all kind of fell apart. And we've made a Final Four in the last 4 years, but that was I'm not going to say a miracle run because we had a good team, but it always seems like we have good players. They just can't put it all together until it's either too late or they fall apart at the end of the year. Another issue I have with Syracuse is that there's just it doesn't seem like there's any hope when it comes to recruiting. Like we used to recruit top 50 players like it was no big deal, and they'd all be coming to Syracuse, and you'd have top 50 guys transferring after 1 year because they weren't playing over other top 50 guys. And now it seems like our best recruits are coming from the transfer portal, which there's nothing wrong with that. It's just it seems like there's no hope. Really the only hope we have is when Dior comes, if he comes, because he can go to the NBA out of high school in that year. So I don't know. It's kind of like –
and obviously part of that is losing Hopkins. But
yeah, no, losing Hop was a major loss for us, and I'm not going to get into that because I have a lot to say about that. And it's no disrespect to Coach Boeheim because he's a legend. It's just like as a recruit, you don't want to commit yourself to a school where the coach that's coaching there is going to leave in a couple of years once his kid graduates. So I don't know. I think Syracuse is in a tough spot, but I think they're trending in the right way. Sidibe played well down the stretch last year. Dolezaj had a good year. If Joe can take a step, he needs to take a step. Not if he can take a step, he needs to. Buddy's going to shoot the shit out of the ball, and he's going to score 15, 16 points a game. But it's just they don't have a superstar now that Eli's gone, and he was the reason we probably won half of our games we won last year. But that's all I'm going to say about that. It was another disappointing season that ended in a way that was even more disappointing because, as everyone said before me, when we beat North Carolina by 30, I thought we were going to win the whole ACC tournament because of how well we played that game.
True. Yeah, Gabe has definitely some new points there just talking about the last few years and how we were younger, and that's all completely true. I think for us moving forward for Syracuse basketball, I think the one thing that does give me hope going forward is that when Buddy Boeheim's a senior, we're going to have Joe Girard be a junior. We're going to have 2 veteran guards that can shoot the shit out of the ball in the backcourt. And Joe's only going to keep getting better. I think Buddy will keep getting better, too. Buddy made a huge leap for his freshman.
Oh, yeah. No, Buddy's much better than I ever could have imagined him to be.
Yeah. No, and he's completely exceeded all expectations. 15 games in sophomore year. So I think if Quincy can stick around for a few years, which I think he will.
I think Quincy's going to be very good, too.
I think he's got a ton of potential. I think that the thing about Syracuse basketball right now is they're going to have to play some dogs because they're not going to out-talent anybody, but they can shoot the shit out of the ball. And teams like that often do make the NCAA tournament. So we just got to, keep the course. And I completely get you guys. It's tough going from those Tyler Ennis days where you win 25 straight games and, you're being hit with a buzzer beater. And it just felt like everything was in our momentum to having some years where it's kind of like we're a bubble team when we're an elite program. So it's kind of frustrating. But, I think the future is bright. Elijah Hughes, I hope he goes to an NBA team, has a great NBA career because he's a hell of a player. He deserves it.
I think it's interesting to bring up the Hopkins thing of how he left, it definitely impacted recruiting because when I was watching
Isaiah Stewart would have came here, and Quade Green would have came here if Hop was
Yeah.
if Hop was still coach.
when I was watching the live stream of that whole team reacting to the national championship,
Yeah, the final.
they were bringing up how one of our assistant coaches, Troy Weaver, he went on to Texas where he recruited KD. So people were saying like, oh, if he doesn't lose, Syracuse might have a shot at this, I think that's similar to Hopkins, like Gibb just said, where we might have gotten Stewart, we might have gotten Quade Green. But obviously Bam's Hall of Fame coach, like he can do it. I know he can do it. He just showed he got Dior. And I expect Dior to bring more recruits with him, more of his friends, to try to get this program back up to where we know it can be, where it used to be in the early 2000s. So I think we'll be fine, but we're gonna have to wait a couple years, I think, till we're.
And I think also the NCAA sanctions just ended this year, so we're gonna have more scholarships to give out because it always seemed like over the last couple of years.
Yeah.
Especially since the sanctions, we've only played like 8 guys that can actually play, and we have a bunch of other guys on scholarship that don't really belong on scholarship.
Yeah. Once we have the availability, it'll be bigger. And then not to get into it, but the NCAA punishment was completely ridiculous for Syracuse.
If North Carolina
we already know that.
punished for having fake classes for students, and we get punished because Fab Mello skipped 3 classes, and it's Fab Mello. Like that dude was a tutor. God bless his soul because he passed away, and I love Fab Mello, but he was an idiot. He cost if he didn't get suspended for the NCAA tournament, we would have won the championship that year. We were
100%. We got bullied by Ohio State with Jared Sullinger, and Fab Miller would have shut that shit down. It was great perimeter, defender.
Fab Miller was awesome his sophomore
year.
He
was awesome. He was a great player for Cuse. Yeah, but no, good point.
All right, and now we'll touch on kind of the recruits we have coming in, the transfers. So I'll start with that. We have point guard Kadari Richmond coming in, and then small power forward Woody Newton from Maryland.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, John Bowles coming off the red shirt, so he'll be back. Then we have Braswell coming off his red shirt. So, and then of course Sidibe is still there, Dolezaj is still there. So it's going to be interesting to see if Woody plays or if Woody red shirts. Obviously now with we had 4 guards transferred: Jalen Carey, Goodine.
Woody's 6'9" though.
Obviously, I thought he was 6'8".
He's a forward. He's a small forward.
He'd play Woody Newton would probably play power forward at Syracuse.
Well,
he could play.
Got to fit him there. But Kadari will play next year, after or for Joe and.
Yeah, he'll be the backup point guard because Alan Griffin, the guy from Illinois, won't be able to play next year.
Yeah, it's annoying.
If he gets a waiver.
Yeah. Anyone else want to talk about? Because we might get that Harms guy from Purdue, 7 foot.
He'd be a big help. He's way better than Sidibe. Way better.
We need depth to big man position. Sidibe was never bad coming off the bench.
I think now
and gave good minutes.
I think now, in the last couple of years, we didn't have any centers and power forwards that could play, but now we have Jesse Edwards, John Bull, Braswell, Woody Newton, Merrick, Sidibe. If we get this Harms guy, that's 7 centers, and now we only have we used to have too many guards, and now all of our guards left. So I think that's either going to be good or bad for us because usually our big men, we don't have enough of them and they stink. So maybe if we have more of them and they're average, that will be beneficial.
Every great SU team had a good man. So
yeah,
Sidibe was really growing over the year. He definitely started out horrible, but
he just fouls too much.
He was posting double. Yeah, no,
he finished the year strong.
He's a guarantee foul out every game.
Yeah.
But he was posting consistent double-doubles towards the end of the season. I'm not a big believer in Jesse Edwards. The way I saw him play just kind of looks like he lacks IQ out there. Maybe still getting used to stuff. He'll definitely play
more
computer. But what?
When he gets more confident, he'll be a little more
at ease. I can see him getting some minutes off the bench.
But he had the biggest rebound for Syracuse this year versus Wake Forest when he tipped it out to Goodine, who hit the buzzer beater. But he just lacks IQ. When that Clemson game when Sidibe fouled out, he came in. He just looked like he didn't know what to do. He was it was bad to watch, and
I don't really think we've had good big men since like
Rock.
Christmas.
Yeah, since Christmas. And
Torian Thompson wasn't bad, but he left.
yeah, he wasn't bad. I was
even Roberson.
I
Roberson was
would like to
undersized.
see him grow into a player because he was good.
Yeah.
I thought he was
No,
very good.
Torian Thompson could have been good for Hughes. He just didn't play defense.
That team with like him and Leiden and Andrew White and Gillen and Tyus.
Completely under.
That team, if they figured it out earlier in the year, they could have made a deep
run. Oh yeah,
lost
they put so much talent on it.
Yeah, I mean, Andrew White and John Gillen that one game against NC State that won to like double overtime, each scored like 40 points.
Yeah, they were sick. Yeah, that was Leiden's freshman year, right? Or no, wait,
because he left.
He left. Yeah, he left.
He was disappointing that year, though.
Yeah, he might have left after his freshman year, I think.
You would have been the best part of you would have been the base role his junior year. So I don't,
But then you also have those guys like Chris McCullough who comes in, tears his ACL, and then go to the draft. Like you wish players like those made a real impact on Syracuse basketball, so they could have been remembered. But maybe that would have helped somehow more recruits like want to come, but he barely played. So.
Chris McCullough is Chris McCullough. Like he's like one. Like I don't think I've ever heard of another guy that came to Cuse, tore his ACL his freshman year, had a major injury, and then just left.
Yeah, no, it doesn't work like that. I mean, you had Baisley with a big fake in that. And the quick thing on Baisley,
I hate him.
And what he did, but not like Syracuse fan or non-biased, he was a projected lottery pick going to Syracuse. He was going to go to Syracuse. He was going to have a huge year in the first team All-ACC and leave. That's fine. He doesn't go to Syracuse. He does that other option where he's playing like the G League thing, whatever it is.
He went to the G League for like a week, and then he just became an intern at New Balance, made a shitload of money, good for him, and then went to like all the draft stuff and then got drafted.
Yeah, true. But right now his projected thing went from literally a lottery pick to they said he's lucky if he gets to the first round.
Who are you guys talking about?
Darius Baisley. And he went like he did get the money. He wanted money out of high school, which is fine. I get that. But the only problem is his projection where he's talking, he thought he was going to skyrocket by doing this, and it didn't work out. So I mean, if you go to Syracuse first team All-ACC,
because he's like a big partner with New Balance now, and he worked under like some of their top guys for a whole year. So he's kind of one of the once he's done with basketball, he'll probably have a job at New Balance for as long as he wants it. And I mean, I thought I'd never hear of him again, but I know he got some minutes on the Thunder this year, and the Thunder were pretty good, so good for him. It worked out, but didn't work out for him.
Yes, yeah, that's a good way to put it.
Yeah, that when he decommitted, comment section was the best thing I've ever seen. That was hilarious. All right, now we'll let Gibby start with Cuse football. Expectations for next season, how we think we did this season.
All right, well, I'll start with this season. And this season was, to put it in the simplest terms possible, was fucking shit. Very disappointing. Over last summer when I worked my landscaping job, all I would do was listen to football podcasts, college football podcasts. And the one major thing with Syracuse, everyone said, is they have the talent, they have this, they have that, but they don't have an offensive line. And I'm like, all right, whatever. The offensive line can figure it out. And of course, the offensive line did not only not figure it out, but they played absolutely horrible until about the last 2 or 3 games of the year. And I mean, DeVito was disappointing, obviously, but when you're taking a 3-step drop and you can't even get to your 3rd step before you're getting sacked, there's not much you can really do there.
Not much. Yeah.
I think we had a lot of guys hurt this year too. I don't think Alton Robinson or Kendall Coleman were 100% for the whole year, and I think they had an impact on the defense. Cisco was out for some games. Afetu Melifonwu was out for some games, and I think he's gonna be very good at corner. DeVito was banged up, and that definitely doesn't help. Taj Harris kind of had a disappointing year, but they also couldn't really throw the ball except to Tristan Jackson, who had a very good year. Sean Riley was very disappointing. Nykeem Johnson had a step back, whereas I thought he was going to take another step forward. Mo Neal had a good year. Love Mo. Hope he gets his chance in the NFL. Abdul Adams was disappointing, but I think that, again, has to do with the offensive line and having a guy like Mo Neal ahead of him. So I think now that he's the lead horse, we're going to see more out of him.
For sure.
I like what they've done this offseason by getting rid of the offensive coordinator they had last year, and instead of having Dino really be the offensive coordinator, they're bringing in a guy that's strictly the offensive coordinator, Sterling Gilbert. And then on defense, they have a new defensive coordinator. And no disrespect to Brian Ward, but we can't play Tampa 2 defense at Syracuse. We don't have those type of athletes. But I think the defense is going to be in a good spot again this year with McKinley Williams coming back because he was hurt all last year. Josh Black played well. They're going to have ends. We have loads of ends. Our linebackers were an issue last year, I think. What's his name? Andrew Armstrong sucked. But I think Michael Jones is very good. I think, Tyrell Richards was underutilized last year. I think he's very good. He's very versatile. We have a bunch of young guys. But I'm excited for this year. I think we need to make a bowl game. I don't really care what bowl it is, but they need to win 6 games. It's kind of inexcusable to not be able to win 6 games in college football when you play a Division I FCS team like Colgate every year. Then you play 2 low-level D1s like Western Michigan and Central Michigan.
3 freebies every year.
That's 3 free wins. And this year we play fucking Rutgers. Like, come on, if you can't lose to Rutgers. So all I have to do is win 2 ACC games, and you have to be able to win 2 ACC games. But I'm excited for this year. I think they're going to sneak up on some people again. I can't wait until we play Clemson because for some reason they always seem to fucking put their shit together against Clemson. And last year's score against Clemson didn't define how close that game really was for 2.5, 3 quarters.
3 quarters.
We had chance after chance in that game.
But I'm very excited for this year. I mean, I love Syracuse football. I'm more of a Syracuse football guy than a basketball guy, and I'll say that until I die. I can't wait to see what the dome looks like. Hopefully they don't dick around and get some shitty-ass scoreboard to hang from the middle of the ceiling and they do their due diligence so I can actually see the board when I'm sitting in the nosebleeds. But I'm excited. I'm very excited. And I think this is a make-it-break-it year for Dino because I think he's a great guy, great coach, great leader. But I don't think he's a big X and O's guy. I think he's more of a motivational guy. So bringing in more new minds to kind of spark around the offense and defense, I'm excited for. I think Cisco is going to have a monster year like he always does. And I think Trill Williams is going to have a monster year too. And I hope both those guys play so well that they play themselves into the first 2 rounds of the NFL draft. So that's my take on Syracuse this year. I'm very excited. And I think the offensive line is going to be much improved as they were at the end of last year because Service is moving back to center. And or I don't know if he's going to move back, but I think he should play center. And then that what's his name? The Canadian guy, Bergeron, the tackle. I think he was a big help at the end of last year. I like the way he plays. He plays pissed off, which is good. But that's my take on Syracuse. And I just make a bowl game. That's all I want. I want to be watching a bowl game at Christmas time.
Yep. I agree. Steve, do you have anything to say?
Yeah, I mean, I think I completely agree on Gibb. I think I'm looking forward to next season. This season's definitely a disappointment coming off a season where we thought Syracuse football was back. Mm-hmm. For all of us, Gibb's a huge Syracuse football fan. I love him too. I just feel like it's tough because, it's looked at a basketball school, but that disrespects the program because there's been a lot of great players that come through Syracuse for football, some of the greatest ever. And the last few years has been tough. With Marone, we had a nice stretch, but when Babers had that season, then we win that huge bowl game against West Virginia. It just looks like everything's going on this upward spiral. And it's a younger defense; they're coming back, and then we had the disappointing season this season. So it's tough, but moving forward, I am hopeful. I have a buddy at Cortland named Mike Racino. Shout out, Mike. He works out with the Syracuse football team, and he's an O-lineman. He works out the lineman there, and he said that he's Mike and the other guys on the team have never seen an O-lineman be jumbled as much as that Syracuse was for the first half of the season.
There was no consistency. Yeah, I agree with that.
Between injuries and just the fact we had our center moving to tackle, then back to center for a few games. The Canadian guy you're talking about, he is a beast. Great guy in the weight room, great guy in the team. I think once they got their chemistry down a little bit better in the last few games.
They definitely did.
And they moved the ball a lot better. So I think that looks good, and I think that was the biggest flaw of the season. So if they start to get better towards the end of the season, that's you're looking better. So I'm looking forward to next year for Cuse. I think they're going to have a surprising year, and like Gibb said, any bowl game would be good for Cuse fans right now. Yeah. I think Babers is a great coach, and he deserves another bowl game. So let's get there.
And speaking back, this is the last thing I'm going to say about the O-line is that I single-handedly watched 2 games, NC State and Pittsburgh, that the defense literally kept them in the whole – the offense had 20 yards at the end of the first half in both those games. The defense was going to work. The only times they would score, the NC State and Pitt would score was when we would punt the ball from the back of our end zone, and they'd start with the ball on the 40-yard line and have to pick up 10 yards to kick a field goal. And that was the only time they'd score. Because that's how good our defense could have been last year, except the only game that they were bad in was the Boston College game. And I'm not going to get into that because that was embarrassing.
That was embarrassing. They were good in the Clemson game.
They were. They shut
down Trevor Lawrence the first quarter and a half.
There was 3 defining plays of that game, in my opinion. The first – all right, well, the big thing was that they couldn't protect DeVito. I mean, they'd rush 8 guys every play, and they wouldn't have enough blocking to, first of all, block all the guys. And if they did have enough blockers, one guy would always just become running free because 2 guys would be blocking the same guy. They'd pull a Churko. One guy would turn this way, one guy would turn that way, and the other guy would just run through the middle. But the 3 big plays of that game, in my opinion, were DeVito all right, there's 4. 2 of them are kind of together. DeVito throws that pick on all he used to do was throw the ball away. It was 10-6 at the time. It would have been 10-9. He throws that ball away. It's 10-9. Clemson gets the ball again, and we're absolutely locking down on defense at this point in the game. Another big play that kind of go together is Trill Williams picks off Lawrence at the 40-yard line. I think it's 17-6 right now. He has a free path to the end zone. And at about the 10-yard line, he starts high-stepping it into the end zone like Deion Sanders. And Travis Etienne tracks him down and catches him at the 2-yard line. And I'm like, I think we're not going to score. I go, I'm watching the game at the hotel I'm at. And I go, we're not scoring here. I'm like, I already can tell this is going to happen. We get stuffed on the plays that were literally halfback dive up the middle against probably the best defensive line or one of the best defensive lines in the country with an O-line that literally can't block a soul. I could have gotten through that O-line that game. And then the last big play, obviously, it's 17-6 still because this is after we stuff them. It's 3rd and 3. They throw a bubble screen to Amari Rodgers, and I don't know how he's not tackled. And then he houses it, and then the game's at that point, the game's pretty much over.
Yeah, that was a game sealer in my mind. Gib, there's a video of you. First play of the game, we took or not.
And then they take a shot to
we took a shot to the end zone and just
was it to Jackson, and he just doesn't. I'm like, it just goes through his hands. I'm in my hotel room, and I'm like this. I'm like touchdown, and it just doesn't get caught, and I'm freaking out because again, they're just throwing away points. You don't throw away points against Clemson. You can't. We're not going to score this time.
I think something that got. Well, it wasn't really overlooked, but it was the fact that we had lost to Maryland by 30, and I think
that was.
If we beat Maryland, we probably get the game day.
Oh no, we definitely get game day.
You definitely get game day. You're 2-0. You're feeling better, but instead you're 1-0. Game day is fuck no. You just lost to 30 to Maryland. We're gonna watch you get 40 bombed at home. So, yeah, I don't know. That was just mad as a fan, as a student of Syracuse, even more than because I just wanted some game day there. But I think that also would have rallied some troops there. But obviously we had our chances.
They didn't capitalize.
They can't lack.
The Clemson defense wants anything other than you to run the ball on the best defensive line in the country. One of the best defenses in the country. The Isaiah Simmons smelling Moneill 2 yards behind the fucking line of scrimmage. What do you think they want you to do 4 times in a row?
So Syracuse isn't a power run team by any means. They really never have. And they're coming out in a jumbo set with a fullback and Jarvian Howard behind the fullback. And there's no guys split out. No. What do you think they're going to do? They're obviously running the ball. And we're not a good run team to begin with. Even last year when we won, or 2 years ago when we won 10 games, for some reason they'd always start off every game with 3 halfback dives.
That's so true.
There, and you just be like, what are they? It's what are they doing? Are they trying to just get down by some points so they can make a comeback and then it looks better? I haven't been a big fan of the offensive play calling since Dino got here. No matter who was the offensive coordinator, whether it was Sean Lewis, because he single-handedly threw us out of a game against Wake Forest a couple years ago by calling Hail Marys on 3rd and 10 from the 40-yard line instead of trying to work into field goal range and kick field goals to win the game. And then when we went to T. Martin, I don't know what the fuck he was thinking. I mean, we couldn't do anything when he was the offensive coordinator, except when Dungy would run around and make plays because that's all he did was make plays because he's amazing. And then last year was just a shit show. They couldn't block. They couldn't do anything right. Oh, and I think Luke Benson's very good too. I didn't talk about him.
Yes, shout out to Luke Benson.
He's a matchup issue at tight end. He's fast, and Jawar Jordan's gonna have he's gonna be very good for us too.
Friend of mine, Luke.
So
Benson.
was Jake Wright.
Comment. Yeah, shout out Jake.
Shout out Jake.
Jake better be getting some run on special teams this year, and if he doesn't, there's gonna be an issue.
Yeah, they won't win games if he doesn't.
They won't win games. Hell yeah, baby.
Shout out to Shane Wright. We all know he would be a dominant force on the football field, but he's just choosing not to.
No.
All right, we can move on to college basketball as a whole.
Well, Shane, do you want to add anything?
Yeah, Shane, you can talk.
Football discussion.
I don't know. Of course, it was a disappointing season. You know, a ton of blame was put on DeVito. But like you guys were saying, like everybody was saying, the offensive line was horrible all season long. When the offensive line is doing bad, the running backs are going to play bad.
Yeah.
Not going to have any holes. The receivers aren't going to be able to run their routes.
Trying to get open.
Obviously, DeVito made a lot of stupid mistakes. That interception against Clemson was where he easily could have threw it away is one example. That pisses me off, but I'm not going to go into that. But, you know, I think he could have played a lot better, and I think he will play a lot better next season. It was a big learning year for him. But overall, like every Syracuse fan, I was disappointed, you know, coming off that huge season the year before. You know, I was expecting us to have a better season than we had, but disappointing, to say the least.
I think we improved this year, but it's a while till the season, so.
Never count Q's football out.
Yeah.
If any Q's fan loves football, Q's, you know one thing is that every year we're going to be a ranked team, and every year we're going to shock somebody. So.
Yeah, like we really snuck up on Wake Forest at the end of last year. I mean, that was the only game I was able to get to, and I didn't think we were going to win, but I'm very glad we did because 5-7 looks a lot better than 4-8. And
tremendously.
4-8 is just I'm sick of going 4-8, so I'm glad we went 5-7.
That's the magic number for Syracuse football in these past couple of years, especially with Schaefer.
Good Lord.
So now we could talk about college basketball once again. Maybe not focus as much on Syracuse because we know that Tides were not going our way with our March Madness hopes, but everyone can talk about maybe three teams, maybe not the Dukes and not the Dukes and the Kansases, but maybe some teams that you wish had a shot, some players you wish had a shot to show what they could have done this year, maybe boost their draft stock. But we'll start with Gib and then we'll go down.
All right, so I'm going to talk about Dayton to begin with a little bit, and Dayton is a team that I wish got to play in the tournament simply because of one guy, and it's Obi Toppin. I mean, he's won every major award that he could have won, and it would have been cool to see a mid-major school in the A-10 like Dayton, who really had a really good chance to make a huge run in the tournament, go to the Final Four, and even win the championship. I mean, I unfortunately didn't watch a ton of college basketball this year. Even Syracuse didn't get to watch a ton of it because I was busy with school and baseball. But you'd watch highlights, and Dayton was always all over the place. And, you know, if Dayton's making the ESPN Sports Center, you know, first hour highlights, you know they're doing something right and something's going on there. So I would have liked to see them play. I would have also liked to see Oregon play. Peyton Pritchard was awesome. One of the few games I watched in full was Oregon against Washington at Washington, and Oregon was down by like 17 in the second half, and he willed them to win that game in overtime. He hit like a 35-foot shot with 5 seconds left to put them in front against Washington. They would have been fun to watch. They play hard. He plays hard. He's a good shooter. He's a good passer. He was awesome. And then the last team that definitely had a disappointing season that I'm going to talk about is Washington. They brought in 2 top 10 recruits in Stewart and McDaniels, bringing Quade Green, who actually didn't play for about half the year because of academic issues. But I know Hop's going to do a good job up there. I have nothing but faith in Coach Hop and the rest of the guys up there. and they're going to bounce back next year, and they're going to have a good year. They lost a lot the year before. I mean, they lost Matisse Thybulle, who's probably already a top 15 defender in the NBA. They lost their point guard, David Crisp. They lost a power forward / center, and Noah Dickerson, and a 3-point specialist, and what was his name, Dom Green. But they're light years ahead of where they would be if Hop wasn't their coach, and I'm glad for them. And I hope they do well again next year, and I expect them to do well next year.
For my 3 teams that I wish had a shot, first one then being a team that played Syracuse in Iowa. I thought behind Obi Toppin, Garza, their big man, was probably one of the most consistent players in the country. That Iowa team struggled when they hit Big Ten play. You saw that, them losing to bottom of the Big Ten teams. Although the Big Ten was overall strong, like at some points, Ohio State was like dead last. Yet at one point they were 4th in the country. It didn't really make sense this year. Another team I would have liked to see was Illinois. They had a big man that Syracuse was targeting, who ended up having a good season in Kofi Cockburn. Their point guard, Ayo, however you pronounce his fucking last name, dude was a beast. I don't know if he's leaving yet. I think he had a good enough season where he could get drafted. And then my last team was an ACC team in Florida State. I feel like every year they're solid, but they've never making that real Final Four run. I would have liked to see what they could have done this year. Obviously, they were crowned ACC champs, despite it being canceled. They had Trent Forrest and Quan Gray. Yeah, I don't know. It would have been cool to see a ACC team besides UNC, Duke, to make a run in a tournament. So yeah, I feel like we missed out on that.
All right. Yeah. I'm just going to talk about one team, and it's a team that I think would have won the whole thing. And both you, Tim, and Gibby already talked about them. But that's Dayton. Of course, Obi Toppin was phenomenal all season long. But I read online, they had a ton of momentum, like going into the A-10 tournament. I read that they beat Davidson, Rhode Island, and George Washington by a total of 67 points. When a team gets hot late in the season, before that tournament, it's scary. And the thing is with this season, I feel like there was no overpowering team in college basketball. So I think March Madness would have been a ton of fun this year.
Yeah, it would have been awesome.
I'm really disappointed that, of course, it had to be canceled. But yeah, I think Dayton was fantastic all season long.
My one team I want to talk about, just keep it quick, because this is one of my favorite college basketball players I've watched in recently, sorry, is Cassius Winston in Michigan State. I think Tom Izzo is a great coach. I think they started to get – they had a little bit some bumps through the season, but I think when you have a great senior leader, especially at point guard in the NCAA tournament, anything can happen. Tom Izzo's proven that he can get far in the NCAA tournament. I loved watching Cassius Winston play. He just played with so much energy. It reminded me like an old school point guard. This is kind of a stretch, but like watching some Pearl highlights compared to Cassius Winston, they have a similar type of game where it's like a mid-range, they have the floater, they have the pull-up right in the mid-range, the way they pass the ball, the way they play defense. It's comparable. And he's so fun to watch. I love watching it. I usually – that's probably my second favorite team to watch this year was Michigan State besides Syracuse. And I think they could have made a run. They had some good wins at the end of the season. I think they could have made a run in the tournament, but we'll never know. And it's a senior year, so hopefully he lands a spot in the NBA somewhere, or he's happy doing what he's doing next, because I think he's not only a great leader and a great guy, but somebody awesome to watch for basketball.
Anyone else have anything to say?
I think we're good.
All right. To pretty much end the show, last night I randomized a 1v1 bracket for NBA players using our top 15 teams, or top 15 players, and just I added D-Book as the last. He didn't make all of our lists, but I just added him in there. I think it'd be a good one-on-one player. I didn't have any centers in this just because I feel like they would have been quick outs. But what we're going to do is a voting process. I'll say the first matchup, and everyone will vote. Person with 2 or 3 votes will move on to the second round, and so on. There's 16 players, so we'll start with Gib. First matchup, I think it's pretty obvious. We have LeBron versus Devin Booker.
LeBron.
21-4.
One with the GOAT.
All right, so LeBron's going to move on, and he will face, once again, these are random, Donovan Mitchell versus Trae Young.
Ooh.
That's interesting. I mean, Trae Young is like a one-on-one type of player.
Yeah,
Serious here. I mean, he can shoot from anywhere. I don't know if he'd be able to stop Donovan Mitchell. Like, if Donovan Mitchell was just to want to go get buckets, but they're NBA players. I mean, they have to be able to play some defense. And then I think if you stick them in a one-on-one game, they would play defense. So I'm gonna give the edge to Trae Young because I think he's better offensively than Donovan Mitchell.
All right.
I'm going to go with Donovan Mitchell because I think he's a better defender, and Trae Young is not going to be able to stop him very much.
So I just Googled this just to double fact check this because I actually way off here. I thought Donovan Mitchell was a lot taller than Trae Young. They're the same height. They're both 6'1". So that was surprising to me.
Deciding
I
goals,
think
dude.
Trae Young is a more gifted offensive player, but I think when it comes to one-on-one, you got to sometimes just take it to the rack. I think Donovan Mitchell's stronger. This is tough, man. I feel like if Trae Young got hot, it wouldn't be close, but I think if this in a competitive game, I like Donovan Mitchell's mentality, his dog mentality. I'm taking Donovan Mitchell.
All right, so Donovan Mitchell moves on. The next matchup is Paul George versus Jimmy Butler.
Ooh, that's another good game. I mean, Paul George is a better offense player than Jimmy, and Paul George is by far no means a bad defender. I mean, I think he's made an all-defense team once or twice.
He's a good defender, yeah.
So I'm going to go with Paul George. I don't think this one isn't as close in my mind as Mitchell against Trae Young.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Paul George too. He's basically a better version of Jimmy Butler.
Yeah.
They're both pretty good defenders, good scores, but Paul George is better in both categories.
Steve, even though it didn't matter, I'm guessing you would have voted for Paul George.
Yeah, I'm going to save my hot take. I'm going with Paul George for this one.
All right, so Jimmy Butler is out. And Paul George will face either Pascal Siakam or Anthony Davis.
Oh, this is a better matchup than people realize.
Yeah.
Still only one winner.
I mean, I think you have to go with Anthony Davis. I think he's just a better version of Pascal Siakam.
Yeah, he's a more polished veteran version of Pascal Siakam.
Anthony Davis.
If Pascal Siakam's a B+ and everything, Anthony Davis is an A and everything. I think Pascal Siakam has similar games, but if they're going to 21, it's just like 21-11. Anthony Davis. Yeah. I think Anthony Davis might have potential to win this whole thing, but that's just me.
All right. Next matchup, Giannis versus Damian Lillard.
I'm going with Damian Lillard. He's my favorite player. That's all I'm saying. That's all that needs to be said. I don't really care what anyone else has to say.
How is Giannis? How is Damian Lillard going to stop Giannis down low?
I don't know.
I make this in a one-on-one game, you just turn around and you say, "Shoot it over me," and then you disrespect Giannis.
No Poe in this. So if you make it, the other person gets the ball still.
Oh, it's not Poe?
No.
Wait, there's no Poe in this?
That's ridiculous.
Is this?
Well, that's how. I guess we could do Poe if you wanted to do Poe.
I'm taking Giannis. He'll score every time he touches the ball.
Wait, you guys didn't know about the automatic death barrier? I thought you knew.
Giannis.
We'll make this as Poe. I've made it in my mind there would be no Poe.
That's a poor matchup. That's poor matchup for Damian.
It's a poor matchup for Dame, and I really wanted to give Dame the match because I like the way he plays too, especially before the season stopped. Mm-hmm. But I think I have to get Giannis is a 6'11". He can handle the ball really well.
Yeah.
I just feel like it's tough. Dame would have to make 5 threes in a row to win this game. So I'm going.
No, the only way he'd win is if it was Poe and he got the ball first and then made
banging threes.
To make to win.
Yeah, if it's not Poe, this would be a tough game for Dame.
Yeah.
All right. So Giannis will move on. Next matchup we have is Kemba versus Russell Westbrook.
Westbrook's got that dog in him. We got to take Westbrook.
There's a vote for Russ.
Russ. I don't really think this one's that close.
I think Kemba. I'm not picking Kemba. I think Kemba's a great ISO guy. Fuck. I feel like this is closer than people realize because Kemba's just got a much better mid-range game, and that's very underrated in one-on-one. But fuck, man, I think if you put Russ in a one-on-one tournament, I think it'd be fun to watch. Because I think he's just gonna take his ass to the rack and dunk on him. I'm a big Celtics fan, but I'm going Russ on this one. I think Russ sweeps.
Take that hoodie off, Steve.
All right, you Miami Lakers, Cleveland fan.
Every fan. All right. This next matchup could be seen as what would have been a finals matchup, but they meet in the first round. Luka versus Kawhi.
Oh, I felt like those are the two names going. I got mine.
Got mine too.
I think Kawhi should win, but fuck it. I'm going Luka.
I'm going to go Kawhi. Locked on the thunder.
Yeah, to me, when you got a debatably top 3 greatest defender of all time, it's tough to beat him one-on-one. And I think, like I said in a previous video, I think this is the closest thing we're going to see to a Kobe Bryant, Michael Jordan type player. So I'm going Kawhi. But Luka, the thing is, if Luka gets hot, it's tough. That's a tough one. I'm going Kawhi, though. I like Luka more as a player, but I'm going Kawhi.
All right. Kawhi will face either James Harden or Jason Tatum.
Harden. I mean, he's Mr. One-on-one.
You had to give Tatum Harden in the first round. Was that the randomizer thing?
This was the randomizer. I randomized
couldn't
it.
Get Tatum one win.
I mean, like Harden will just get fouled a million times and just keep getting the ball back. Tatum will never touch the ball. So.
Yeah, I really wanted to give Tatum a win somehow in this.
So okay.
Kind of bad now. But here's the thing, bro. Tatum is taller. No, Harden wins. I can't even get an argument.
All right, now we move on to the Elite Eight. We have LeBron versus poor Donovan Mitchell, who I'm afraid this might be the end of the road for.
To be honest,
21-2.
Yeah.
Donovan Mitchell's lucky to touch the ball if it's Poe.
Yeah.
Never say his
name.
Yeah,
LeBron's going to win. If Trae Young's in this game, Trae Young could possibly make a couple more threes and keep it close for the first 10 points. But LeBron's beating whoever he needs to beat until about the championship, whoever he faces there.
This shouldn't take time.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks for playing Donovan Mitchell. All right. Now we have Paul George versus Anthony Davis.
Oh.
Paul George, very good defender.
It's a height difference.
Paul George.
AD, I'll look it up right now. I believe AD's either 6'9" or 6'11". And I think Paul George is 6'7". I'll check, though.
I do believe that as well.
Anthony Davis is listed at 6'10", and he's a big 6'10", though, I feel like.
Yeah. I thought he was 7.
I'll go with Anthony Davis in a close game.
Yeah, it's going to be a close game regardless. I'll give Steve the deciding vote here, so I'll go with Paul George.
I feel like when it's a close game, I got to show some love to my previous passion with basketball. You got your back to the basket and it's volleyball, man. I think Anthony Davis can I feel like if this is a close game, it's tough because PJ can get hot and all that, but AD is just going to fucking take his ass to the rack and throw some nuts in his mouth. So it's going to be AD, baby. Bang.
AD has moved on. This should be a quick one, too. Giannis versus Russ. Maybe closer.
Don't say it's a quick one, all right?
Yeah, maybe closer.
Russ
got that dog in, though. I don't know, man.
Height doesn't measure heart.
Yeah, height doesn't measure heart. Fuck it.
I feel like Lillard has the heart.
I'm going Russ.
Hot takes today, man. I wanted to do it, man, but damn.
All right, we have one vote for Russ.
Straight up because of the size difference, Giannis.
Steve, once again, a deciding vote.
Steve, you can do it.
I could do it. I don't want to lose too much credibility. I'm going to Giannis. Damn it, dude. Russ fucking plays hard, man. You got to give him credit. Giannis just happens to be 6'11", but fucking if Russ was 3 inches taller, bro, Giannis pissed his pants.
Russ will make that game close.
Russ will make that game close for sure.
All right, Kawhi versus James Harden.
This is another good one because Harden's Mr. One-on-one, but I think Kawhi would win. I like Russ more than I like Harden, so I'm gonna go with because Russ is more athletic, so that's why I picked him. But I'm going with Kawhi.
I'm going with Kawhi.
Yeah, not like that matters, but Kawhi's locking his ass down. I don't care who James Harden, James Harden, Michael Jordan, fucking I don't care who. Kawhi's gonna lock his ass down. I honestly think he would lock his ass down too. Kawhi's on-ball defender. I honestly think he'd run away with this one. If he's going to 21, I'm going 21-7. Kawhi Leonard. Even if he gets hot, because I don't think James Harden. If you're going to play pussy ball, then James Harden might have a chance. But if you're going to play some real hard-ass basketball pickup, Kawhi's got this all day.
All right. Now we have the two Lakers going at it. LeBron versus Anthony Davis.
Oh,
the GOAT will come through. LeBron.
You're choosing
close
LeBron.
He's a GOAT. My favorite player, LeBron.
Anthony Davis takes the win. Steve, who would you have voted for?
Wait, what did you just say? Wait, what?
Yeah, we both
voted
for
LeBron.
LeBron takes the win. That's what I meant to say.
All right. Who I would have voted for right now? I love LeBron, man, but what am I kidding, bro? It's fucking LeBron. LeBron fucking crosses at it. Bang, step back, fucking let go. I don't care who's watching this podcast. Anthony Davis' mom, Anthony's sister. Your boy would get worked. LeBron.
All right, and now we have Giannis and Kawhi.
Kawhi beat Giannis in the playoffs last year. He can do it again. Kawhi.
One-on-one?
Yeah, and one-on-one. He basically played one-on-one in the playoffs last year.
That's true. It's a true statement. I'm still playing my options. Shane, what do you think?
I'm getting there.
What?
You give it Giannis?
I'm
taking Kawhi. All right. I think we're all on the same page here. Giannis, this is tough because the height matchup, but fuck, man.
Giannis
I'm going Kawhi. It doesn't matter. But
yeah, Kawhi's so long, he can match Giannis's length or height with his length and force Giannis.
I don't think Giannis is that much stronger than Kawhi either. I think Kawhi's definitely got some good. This hand strength's unreal, and yeah, I'm going Kawhi.
All right, so we have our finals: LeBron and Kawhi.
Oh boy.
Steve, how about you start us off? So if me and Shane both agree, somehow you get a chance to.
So, I think. I don't know if I can start us off. Kawhi Leonard would be a matchup nightmare for any one-on-one guy. We already kicked Harden out of this. If Harden had an easier path, I think he could have got to this championship because he's a great one-on-one player. But like I said, Kawhi just locks people down. But at the end of the day, if this season does happen and it's Game 7 in Staples Center, the ball's at the top of key, and I see Kawhi Leonard there and LeBron James there tie game where Lakers are down 1, 10 seconds left, the GOAT comes through. I don't care how much shit I'm going to get for this for anybody. Kawhi's a great defender, blah, blah, blah. I think we'll agree on this one. LeBron comes through. He delivers. This myth of him not being clutch is fucking horseshit. We saw in his last year in Cleveland when he had a buzzer beater game winner in every single series up until the championship. When he has any sort of help, he wins the championship. LeBron James beats Kawhi Leonard, but it's 21-17. It's a close game.
Maybe.
I'd have to agree with Steve here. Kawhi's great and all. He's a great defender, but LeBron's the best basketball player. And the best basketball player should win the tournament where it's just 1v1.
Yeah.
LeBron can D up whatever he wants to. I mean, it's not like he couldn't have won a defensive player of the year if he actually wanted to win, but he doesn't give a shit about the regular season. He only cares about the playoffs.
True.
Wash King, whatever you want to say, he's still the best player.
And people act like when it comes to one-on-one, you got LeBron who can shoot threes now in later in his career. He can post up. He's the strongest player in this tournament. It's not close. And he can do everything well. So LeBron, people underrate him as a one-on-one player because he's a tank. He's like an outside linebacker in the NBA with the most skill in the league. So yeah.
You guys already know who I'm taking. So LeBron, the greatest player in the world.
Oh, I thought you were going to take Giannis.
All right, now we have a mystery matchup. It's LeBron versus Shane Wright. Who wins that one?
CYO legend. 30 a game.
Shane never averaged special LeBron into oblivion.
LeBron and CYO. Come on.
Yeah, throw Braun and CYL. Throw him against that competition. We'll see what happens.
Yeah. Bring him into the chirp crew.
Yeah, bring him the chirp crew. After Michaelenko, DeLumo, me and Shane are done with him, bro. He's never going to play basketball again.
Shane versus Steve 1-on-1. Who's taking
Who?
it?
Oh, I'm not gonna get involved in this.
Well, how old am I when we do this?
Uh,
I think you beat me right now.
JDYAA, Steve.
JD, I bitch you, bro. Don't cap. Come on now. That's when I'd win.
That's Shaq in
You in your prime?
I said JDYAA Steve is Shaq in his prime.
In the nice. I wouldn't say that. No, dude. I was more of I could handle the ball too. It's just it was a better version of me.
Okay.
Like Gibby said when he made the rankings, I'm clearly out of my prime, man. But if I could see 8th grade me versus a skinnier version of you now, great matchup.
Yeah,
Great
Steve
matchup.
felt very heavily disrespected with the rankings last year.
No, you were right though. I mean, it was like
Steve was out of his
Bobby.
prime, and I think Steve's game now is way different than it was when we were in 8th grade. Like now,
100%.
Steve takes like jump shots instead of just.
I didn't take a smell outside the paint until like my sophomore year of high school. But yeah, man, no. And shout out Max's 3-on-3 tournament. It's gonna happen.
Maybe we want to
It's gonna be a lot
talk
of fun.
about that a little. Do we want to talk about that?
Yeah, let's
Let's talk about it then.
All right. Yeah. So I think I'll lead us off. I think Corona has nothing against this tournament. I think this tournament is played.
No, I already talked to Max about it. Don't worry.
It's gonna happen. Yeah.
He said the only way we don't play,
happening.
the only thing that stops us is rain. And he said if it rains, we'll just do it the next day. So nothing. We're playing this tournament.
Fantastic to hear. Maybe we could even have 2 tournaments. I mean, we got a lot of time on our goddamn hands.
We need another ping pong tournament. Shout out to the boys who know what I'm talking about. With
Yes,
Yeah, we do
I
need
would love
another
another
ping pong
ping pong tournament. Maybe I wouldn't play in it this time. Maybe I would. Maybe I'll rematch Tarkins in ping pong.
I'm gonna say last year, the steal of the draft was when I picked Tim Skev.
Yeah, Tim, you did play well last year.
Did you
I kind
say,
of
like, two
I was
threes, Tim?
apparently told I was one of the last picks
in
and
my
I still,
rankings. You were a G League player.
highly disrespected. I felt like Jordan getting cut from his high school basketball team. It was an eerie feeling when Shane came up to me and I knew I was on his team back-to-back years. I felt like this might be the year. And then I think our team underperformed. You know, I had the thing on my back that someone called me. Well, I think it actually was Gibb. I think it was Gibb that called me a G League player. And then I had some other things that were lax athleticism. But
My scouting report was completely correct. Like
What?
it was spot on correct.
What?
That you lack athleticism.
I don't know. I think I have.
I don't know.
I think I have more. But I was also faced with the fact that I had work later that day, so I wasn't really going that hard. I kind of wanted to lose, get to work, get the paycheck.
That's that.
my God.
All right. You.
Tim, you had the hot take
so
of the day then.
Shane drafted me with I think his last pick. I think he.
It
that
was
really-
my last pick, but not the last pick.
So I was so you picked Liam Kaplan over me?
Oh no, I did not. So you weren't my last pick either. I forgot we had him on our team. I don't even think did he play?
I mean, me and him were forced to switch out every 2 points. Shout out to Liam though.
I'm not trying to throw shots at you, Liam.
I feel like in this tournament, it's tough because I feel like if we were to make an all-time team for this tournament, I feel like the 2 people would have
Marky
to
would have to be on the all-time team. He's a 2-time champion, even though he's not the best point guard. You'd have to put him on the team.
No.
Right now.
Who won? I think I played in the last 3 years, but I think this is
We've done it
Who
for
won the
4
first
years.
every year.
The first year, Shane and Bobby won it. I don't know how they were on the
Fucking
same team.
horseshit. Like, let's elaborate. First year we played, it was me,
The
Josh
first year was
Walsh,
a
and
mess. The
Caleb.
first year was
in the
nothing like it's been
championship.
the last 3 years.
In the
Caleb.
championship for Shane and Bobby. Great game.
You won 2 on 3?
Huh? Well, it was me,
Who won?
Bobby, and someone else. We won it all.
Wasn't Noah on your team? Wasn't Noah on your team, Shane?
The team we played in the championship was trash. Easy buckets.
Shut the fuck up. You won by like 1, bro. Like, no,
All
no,
right, all I'm gonna say is that because I'm a fucking captain, every year I never win because I'm a guard, and all the other captains are big men.
That's
Me
true.
and Bobby and Max are the only guards. Max is like 6 feet tall now, so he's like a forward. Oh, and Pat. But Max always ends up with Hannes because Max just drafts Hannes, and then Hannes plays like a all-star with Max. But this year I am promising I will be in the Final Four this year. I have never been in the Final Four. I think I've won 3 total games in 4 years at the tournament, but I am going on a run this year.
Yeah,
Murphy, Murphy, you're my first pick. Get your ass, get some weight back on.
Murphy, the lockdown defender.
I need Murphy on my team.
I was on Gibbs' team my first ever year, and once again, I've never been on a 3-person team. I've always been on
I've always have to have fucking too many people on my team, and it pisses me off.
So once again, I've never been on a team where I've got to play the whole game. I'd love for this year to be the year where I show what I've been working on in college. I go to the gym. I go to the basketball courts very often.
I think we should make a quick all-time max 3-on-3 team. I already have mine real quick. Just a couple guys. You don't need like a starting 5, but I think for sure Max should definitely be on it. Max is tough to beat at Max's house. Don't need to justify that one. I put Shane on it because Shane has made deep runs almost every year, and he does well on it. Shut up, Shane. They still should have fucking beat you, but whatever. Shane had a nice shot in that first year, bro. We were up 2 in the game. I remember we had the first 3
quarters. It was right at right where the segment, broken apart.
No, I've been on back-to-back Shane teams, and we've lost in like the Elite 8.
Yeah, whatever. Shane's on it. Max is on it. I'm throwing this name has to be on everybody's. Amin comes through in 3-on-3. That dude is a beast. Tarky just has the awesome job of just giving him the fucking ball and getting the fuck out of the way. Amin's got to be on there. He plays great there, dude. His level, he just levels up as the tournament goes on. So I think those 3 guys for sure. I think Gibb can get hot there. It's just tough because there's guys every year somebody shows up big, but those 3 guys to me just are beasts.
All right, I can give you a starting 5, and as much as I hate to say it, I have to put Tarky in the starting 5. The 4 years we've had the tournament, he's a 2-time champion. I mean, even though all he does is throw the ball to Amin and watch Amin go to work.
He's like Patrick Beverly. Just a lot.
Props are due for Tarky. I respect him. He had that devastating injury last year, and his head was
yeah, that's true. That is true.
And he came back, and they ended up winning the tournament like 2 weeks later. So Tarky, props to you, my friend. You're the point guard. Schulman's the shooting guard. I mean, he's the only one that could score on his team the last 2 years, and they've been to the championship in 2 straight years.
Yeah.
I'll put Shane at small forward because he dominated the first year, and Shane at power forward or center. I'll just put 2 bigs. I'll throw Amin in there for 1. You have to have him. He was the best player.
You gotta have Amin. I mean, yeah, for sure.
What's kind of crazy is that we're not naming Murad because the team always sucks.
Yeah, because Pat's team is always
Pat balls out, but he just drafts the worst team ever.
And Pat just tries to 2K ISO the whole game. And people will just – all you have to do with Pat is you take a step off him and you turn around and put your hands behind your back, and he'll shoot himself out of the game. Everyone knows that's how you do it. And then for my last big I don't know. You can really put anyone – there's a handful of people you could throw in there. Turner's made some big shots in the tournament.
Turner has.
He's had some good runs.
Don't sleep on Thomas Harley. His defense and rebounding.
He don't count. He played him one year.
Thomas is having fun in the NHL right now. He's good with Amin, but
I don't think Thomas really wants to be on this list. I think he'd rather be in the NHL.
All right, you know what? I'm gonna go with 4 people. It's my Mount Rushmore of the Schulman 3v3 tournament. Tarky, Max, Shane, Amin. There you go.
Now, Tarky, you should count your blessings tonight for Gibb throwing you on there.
Tarky, you're welcome for that one.
I don't want to put on there.
You have to put Tarky on there, though. He's a 2-time champion.
Shane, what are your 4 or 5 or whatever you want to do? And then, Tim, you throw 1 in. I feel like a few are obvious. Like Amin and Max.
They're like gimmies. They're gimmies.
Yeah.
Max is the best player in the tournament every year.
Yeah.
Amin has carried his team. I'm obviously going to take myself because I'm the greatest basketball player of all time. And this is tough. I'm trying to think of a guy that
because if you put another guard on there, the only 3 guards that are captains are me, Bobby, and Pat, and our teams always stink because we can never draft enough big men. So none of us have ever won. And then the rest of the guards are Mannion and Tarky, and they're both not better than all of us at basketball, but they always end up on teams that go further in the tournament because they get paired with a big man.
Steve, I might be throwing you on my list, man.
I think if we made this list 2 years ago, I'd put myself on there.
Yeah, because
now I
you
feel
were
like there's other guys who deserve to recognize.
Because Steve was the first 2 years he like lost in the championship and lost in like the Final Four.
Yeah, Steve, I think he'd be the fourth on my team.
Shane, didn't I fucking play you in the second round last year? I beat Bobby's team.
Bobby had Murphy, right? And that was the game that you, Murphy, and Bobby were just arguing the whole time.
Yeah.
Oh, and here's my team. I got to change it all up. My team is me, Gibby, Murphy. That's it.
Oh yeah, I mean we're the best 3v3 team. If we were allowed to have that team at the Schulman tournament, we wouldn't lose a game. We'd probably win every game by many points.
Oh man, yeah.
I think I'll make mine. As someone who hasn't been there all 4 years, I've been there for 3. I think I would make a team that I think maybe they're not all champions. But I think if you assemble the squad, I think they do win the championship this year. I'm going to go with Nolan Giblin at point guard. I'm going to go with Max Schulman at shooting guard.
I'll switch the positions too.
What?
Put Gibby at shooting guard, Max at point guard.
Yeah, I don't handle the ball. I just launch.
This may come as a surprise, but I'm going to have Caleb McLeod at small forward. I feel like his athleticism this year would – he's able to dunk. He scares me. I don't know about you guys. And then I would probably put Shane at my power forward center. And then fifth man / sixth man. I got to put myself. I'm deadly when I get some rest. I can come in, hit some threes.
Yeah. No, I think Caleb's definitely good. Caleb could have a good year this year. Is Caleb a captain?
I don't know. Oh, you know who actually I might throw on my all-time team is Nick Mandelis. Because his team always you look at them and you're always like, it's Nick and like Carter and then some like random person.
Yeah.
They always end up doing pretty well. And that one year he like broke his foot and like almost won the championship that year too.
Yeah, no. So Nick definitely deserves recognition on that.
He's in the lore of the Shulman 3v3 tournament with that performance.
Yeah.
If he had a good team around him, he could win it all.
Yeah.
But
he always ends up drafting like no shade, but like Jelly, like, come on, man, you can't play a lick of defense and you love to shoot. And then he'll draft Mateo, and Mateo, you're a big man, but you're like as tall as me, and
I think we could also do a little.
All love Teo and Jelly. I love you guys. Jelly, you're probably the best set shooter at the tournament. If you're open and your feet are set, you're knocking that shit down 9 out of 10 times.
I think we could also make a little role player list. Like I think, like Noah Mandel's very good role player.
Oh, Turner's the best role player.
Turner, best role player, and then.
That's where Tarky deserves to be in the role player.
Tarky's the best role player.
Tarky goes off the Mount Rushmore and on the role player list.
Tarky knows how to win. I would say he knows less how to get his team there because
I think there's a lot of good role players at the tournament. I think there's a lot of very good role players. But you can't have 2 role players. You can only have 1. You need 2 players and then a role player. That's how you win the tournament.
Caleb McLeod is the best.
You can turn Adam's a role player, but he's also like the tallest kid at the tournament. So
yeah, our first year when I somehow got Caleb with my second pick for our 3-on-3, I don't know how I get that because he shouldn't even be a role player, but that team. That's on me. We should have won that. Josh Ball.
Josh Greenwood's another good role player. I forgot about him.
Josh is a good group. Yeah.
Who else? Ken. If Ken's not goofing around, he can be helpful.
CP had a good little run.
No offense,
everyone's a good pick. I think Max Churko, he'll give you the heart, no skill.
CP had no business.
Not heart though. Max Churko.
Yeah.
I would have taken CP as my big man if he was a captain, but he was a captain.
Yeah.
Churko, Mr. Boot and Rally.
I have a video of Churko last year at the replayed final when Tarky came back, and Churko just missed the most wide open layup. No one near him.
What else is new?
It was sad. I think it would have tied up the game actually.
It probably would have, knowing Churko.
Just saying, Max, we're looking forward to the tournament this year, man.
Yeah. It's like the best day of the year. You wake up.
It's like a holiday for us. Shout out Diane.
Diane,
the Schulman family. You guys are the best. This tournament means the world to us.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this year's gonna be bigger than ever, especially with the whole quarantine thing going on.
Yeah.
Corona can't stop Max 3-on-3. Hashtag.
Nope.
I expect it
will not stop.
be played in I would expect it to be played at an earlier date. I don't see us wait until June.
Why would we? Tim. It's always on like the same couple days because that's when high school would end. So we got to keep it the same way.
You got to keep it that way. Until then, it's just
Yeah,
training.
but now we got the
grinding.
summertime. Like people might have some jobs.
We have more time to train. I'm out shooting 100 shots a day. I'm getting ready. I'm already preparing for the tournament.
I've been in the weight room every day just for this reason.
I'm dropping 70 pounds just to get back to prime form for this tournament, dude. Like this is going to be the biggest day of my life.
I'm just talking to all the captains out there watching this. I'm gonna give you heart. I'm gonna give you some defense. I'm long now. I'm almost 6 feet tall. I'm growing. I've been in the room. I've been in the weight room. You know, I've been in the gym. You know, shooting, practicing. I feel like I'm vital. Yeah. I can learn.
Tim, the first year, or no, there's the second year. I had you on I was going to pick you, and I had between like you and actually somebody that completely fell. It's either the year I had Caleb or the year after that.
No, I remember you told me you drafted David Beseth, I think, over me. Shout out to David.
I never played with David Beseth, bro. He's never been my team.
I think
it's somebody else. They were actually good.
I think it was Pat Murad took David Beseth.
Yeah, dude, don't.
No,
David, bro, like you got to scam.
I think David beat me in gym class.
We just explained Pat's issue. Pat is a guard, and then instead of picking another person that's taller than him or someone that's in some comparable in height, he takes a guard that's smaller than him, and then he's screwed. Then he's screwed for the rest of the tournament because he can't. There's no more big men in the third round. Then your big man.
Pat drafts 2 people to pass him the ball.
Yeah.
I think my first year with Gib was my captain.
Yeah, Tim.
We played some kid from the lacrosse team. What was his name? He was I remember I blocked 2 of his shots and the whole crowd went crazy. I forget what his name was.
Andrew Barkley?
Yes, I stuffed him twice at the rim.
That's right. That one year
as like a 5'8". As like a 5'8".
That team just showed up in like 3 hours in the tournament, and they were just in the tournament. It was ridiculous. That was the hardest team for me to beat. I kept getting double team and hacked, and I was like, dude, these guys are like 3 years older than us too. I was like, oh my god. They showed up halfway through the tournament and just knocked me out in like the Elite 8, and I was ready to go on the Final Four run. Tim, who else was on our team? It was me,
and Drew.
Yeah, Tim, I drafted Caleb over you that year. Like, can you blame me? Like Caleb McLeod, like solid basketball.
I thought. No, someone else told me. It might not have been. Someone else told me that they drafted someone over me. And in my mind, I was like, I'm pretty sure I'm better than them. And they were like,
yeah, no, Tim, because I remember, Tim, I told you I was going to draft you that year. And then I was like, if the pick comes, I'm picking you. And then I felt bad I did. But that's just, reminiscing. Throwback.
Shane's been my captain the last 2 years. He's been a great captain. If I'm ready to move on, it'll be my time. But if he grabs me again in the third round, I'm ready to come play.
Has it been Tim, you're gonna slide. Tim, you're gonna slide to the third round. It's like tournament tradition that you're like a third round.
Yeah, no, it's been the last 2 years, Shane. My first year was.
No, I'm saying, but have we played for 3 years? Will this be the fourth coming up?
No, we played for 4. This is the 5th. We played our
fifth,
high school, sophomore, junior.
That's weird. My past 2 years were probably a couple of my worst.
Yeah, Shane was like the king of the first couple
Shane,
years.
The first 2 games we won and lost. The first game you had like 1 point, and I'm pretty sure I had like 5 points, and then
Shane.
I need to.
We forgot to add to the role player list Sahil. Sahil was on your team last year, right?
I think Sahil's always a first round pick because of his height.
Well, because I need a big man. That's why I take Sahil. I don't play well with Sahil. We know we don't play well together because I had the first. I think I had the
play well together.
Because Shane had the first pick. And Shane was like, we were in the kitchen, and Shane was like, I'm taking Sahil. And I was like, are you fucking kidding me, Shane? I was like, you're really taking the only big man has a first-round grade? You're taking –
I thought that was smart, but –
yeah, and then I couldn't fucking score because you would guard me. And then every time I'd fucking try to get up with it, I'd get double-teamed. One would get passed out to Noah for a 3. Like, no offense to Noah. Love the Kareem, man. But, like, it's tough. It's tough scoring like that.
How far did we go, Tim?
We lost in the Elite 8 to Nick
the
Mendoza.
well-oiled machine.
I think we lost Nick Mendoza's team. I don't know. I remember I had to leave, and I brought you home, and then I had to go to work or something like that.
Alrighty.
Yeah, that could wrap it up. We could always talk about this more often, especially closer to
as the day comes closer.
I think a future podcast topic will be once the rankings are made. I'm pretty sure Gib made some, and who else makes them with you? Is it just you?
Schulman and me. I run it by Schulman, and then he approves it, and then we put the official logo on it, and then we distribute it.
Yeah. So once those rankings come out, I think we'll do a reaction to the list with Gibble.
Perfect.
Gibble give us our live reactions and
Yeah, I'll put the before the list goes to everyone. I'll so people have to watch the podcast.
Yes.
The first time it will be heard will be on the podcast.
Yeah, we appreciate everybody watching. Like we just want to, this is quarantine right now, not much to do. When you're out of college, just give us a listen, man. We just talk sports. Shout out the Gun family. We know you love watching the podcast. Love you guys. But, man, we appreciate if you guys watch it. So.
And
yeah,
Leo, this is directly at you. If you think I have ice cold takes, I can't wait to hear what you have to say when you come on here because
Leo wants to
you
come
don't
on
know
the podcast
anything about anything.
We're gunning one up for the next couple days here with the MLB. So we're up to 90 followers on the Instagram account. We're almost at that 100 mark. We're 4 days old, and we almost have 100 followers. The subscribers are almost at 40.
Yeah, subscribe to the YouTube channel.
Yes, we're almost at 40.
Maybe if we get enough, we can make some money.
Can we hit 50 by the end of the week? I know 10 of you are out there that aren't subscribed. And always comment or DM us what you want us to talk about. We're open to everything. Today was a little every fourth podcast gonna be a little random podcast where we just talk about many topics like we did today. Anyone else have something to say?
Nope.
Great podcast, boys.
I'm all good.
All right.
Peace.
Sports with Steve out. Let's go.